Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, a couple of reminders that I am not your financial advisor and we never provide investment advice on this channel ever. So with that being said, if you're new, just want to highlight that you may want to go back and check out day one's video, just so you can go ahead and get those introductions out of the way and kind of see how things are going to flow as we go through the Dexscreener series. So, but if you are returning to us, if you've been, with us, throughout the entire series, thank you so much for your continued support, not only of the channel, but for this series as we continue to go ahead and discover, or at least do our best to use the Dexscreener platform to discover new and early tokens so that we can get in as early as possible if you choose to take an entry, before there's any kind of pump on the chart. So with that being said, we do have a little bit of review to go over, and then we'll head straight into discovery. So with that being said, we talked about this one yesterday, but I think that was around 2.1 million on the market cap. And we can see, looking at, the alert that we set here, this was initially found at 742K. So obviously this is disabled because, whenever it triggered at 2 million, and I haven't bothered to go ahead and update this alert. Not sure when I'm going to do that, but I will at some point. But either way, we can see, and the reason why I bring this one back up is because there was additional movement on this chart, even after the video was done yesterday, and I highlighted this one. So this one actually went to just around 3.5 million. So this one continues to show some good movement. This one continues to be one to watch in terms of where it's going on the chart. And obviously for anybody that decided to follow this one, especially if you're copying the same alerts that I'm making, certainly there would have been gains to be made, since this was spotted again under 750K. So we're going to go ahead and close this one out. And then here is a good one, minor meme. And maybe it's like pre-rich, whatever it is, but either way, this one was discovered at 123K. So, and you can see that this one pumped, to 1.5 million at the high. And I went ahead and I did made a screenshot of this one yesterday. So, but we'll go ahead and we'll take a look, at the chart on this one. Let me pause real quick just to go ahead and find it for you. All right, so now I've got the chart up for you guys. I don't know why this is not going away. There we go. And like I said, discovery was right around here, and I think the alert was 6 or 7 days ago. You can see I've got another alert here. I made this one yesterday, just to go ahead and have another alert in here. But if we look at it, we can see that, oops, sorry about that. This was created 7 days ago. So the alert was created 7 days ago. And I do like the fact that, when you make your alerts, here in Dexscreener, it does let you know. It gives you time frame in terms of when you created the alert, which is always helpful, because sometimes, especially with the number of videos that I have, it's kind of hard to just go back and figure out when exactly did I go ahead and talk about this on a video. So I do like the fact that, hey, it does give you a time frame, and I can always just kind of figure out, okay, where was the video, based on the time frame that it gives me, to go ahead and figure out where this was originally talked about in terms of the video content. So with that being said, I did go ahead, like I said, made a new alert yesterday. So alert me when the market cap goes over 800,000. And, obviously, this did go over 800,000, right? Because it's disabled. So we're going to go back out here now, and you can see they did go ahead and have some retracement, because like I said before, anytime, there's going to be any kind of large buy candles, on the chart, and you can see here, there was some selling here, which is not unusual. And then we continue to go up, and then there was some retracement, but it kind of stays flat and then retraces a bit more, and then more buy pressure comes in. And so this is good to see on a chart, right, where you can see big buys that come in and big buy candles that come in, and it doesn't completely dump. That's always a positive in my personal opinion. So, and you can see even here in the buy transaction, the last buy that came in was almost $4,000. So there's clearly interest in this token. You clearly got some conviction, by the community in terms of not dumping on big buys, which is helpful to see. Even you can see even here another buy of almost $4,000. And the sell, here you got $299 here, but no real big dumps, in terms of coming after those big buys, So again, in my personal opinion, that's definitely positive to see. You got greens across the board here on the 5-minute, 1 hour, 6 hour, and the 24-hour time frames, So and when we saw this one originally, I really wasn't sure how this one was going to go. Clearly it went ahead and stayed kind of flatline, but lower low, higher lows, So you can see the low here. You can see it's a little bit higher here, a little bit higher here. Anytime you're seeing that, it's a good indicator that it's not dumping and that people are kind of, staying with that token, so, and anybody that's trying to look for a better entry, they might just go ahead and get sick of it and just say, hey, these people are holding, and then that's where you kind of get these buy candles to go ahead and form. So that's also something to look at, when you look at these charts, in terms of, what do you want to do? So, but I wanted to definitely put this one on, or on our review radar again, just because this one has made some significant movement since the original alert on this one, which was at 123K. So you're talking about a 10x, on this one. So, and that, what does that do? That clearly highlights, what are we trying to go ahead and do, here in the series. The purpose of the series is not only to go ahead and, and teach you and inform you how to use Dexscreener and use those filters, so that you can spot stuff before, and not rely, on a Cole or an influencer, so you can actually go through your own process of evaluation and elimination, in terms of, discovering stuff. But this is another good example of what this whole series is all about. So, and that is, trying to go and get in early before we see any kind of pump on a chart, whether that pump's going to be a 2x, whether it's going to be a 5x, whether it's going to be a 10x plus, so, all right. And so we're going to close this one out here. And then this one, again, being AI, this is one that I went ahead and I talked about yesterday too. And the reason why I bring it back up is because there was additional movement on this chart, even after, I talked about it yesterday. So I'm going to go back into the alerts and we're going to go ahead and find, where is it? Okay, so here it is. All right, so we're going to open up the chart to see where it's at. And there's been some retracement, nothing unusual about that. But, when we go back to the alerts, here we've got the posted market cap at 1.4 million. But if you recall, I posted this on my main channel, Crimson's Calls, it was under 600K. So we're talking under 600K to over 6 million. So what is that? That's a 10x. Okay, so, and if we go back over, here to the main channel, and we can go back to our badge, you can see here, we call this at 591, went to 5.9 million. So there's a 10x that's been achieved, on this particular, token. So again, good movement, really good movement, in terms of this particular token. What does this again highlight? What we're trying to go ahead and do through the series, find stuff. And this was found, using Dexscreener. Now I didn't find it, live on camera, doing a recording, but I did use this platform to go ahead and discover this particular token. Everything checked out for me. I went ahead and I posted it on the main channel, and this one obviously has continued to move now. It has made, it's gone up, it's gone down, and then, just out of nowhere, you continue to go ahead and get buy pressure. So there are people watching this chart. I mean, that's where you're getting this buy pressure coming from. So it could be, somebody watching and then showing it to their community, where they feel like it's at a level where it makes sense to go ahead and, put it on their community's radar. And it's been everything, from, X communities to Telegram communities. So there are eyes on this project. Now for me, based on what I've been, seeing and watching on this one, do I think it'll continue to retrace? Yeah, I think you'll continue to go ahead and see some retracement on this, but I also think, and I'm optimistic about it, that you will likely continue to see, some buy pressure on this. This is one that, if you go back out here to the 3rd, and now what are we at? We're at the 7th. I mean, so it's been steady progress, over the last 4 days on this one, so I do think this one continues to be one to watch. Not sure what it's going to do. I've already I took an entry in this one, took initials out. So I believe that, at this point, what am I, doing in terms of my position? I mean, I'm risk free at this point. So anything else, from here on out, if it continues to go up, I've already mitigated my risk, and now it's just free money at this point, as far as anything else that happens on this chart, moving forward. So, and that's the other thing, we really don't talk about it much on the channel, but if you decide to go and take a position, and we never encourage you, to invest in this channel, that disclaimer has to be there. But should you decide to go ahead and do that, you want to make sure that you mitigate your risk. Get those initials out as early as you can, and then you can ride whatever other wave, if you think it's going to continue to go up, you can ride it out from there. Risk-free without risking any more of your own capital. And you can see, just some more transactions. We had a $3,300 buy that came in, not big sells, this one's at 889 sell, but again, if you're talking about somebody that maybe got in earlier, that kind of makes sense, so, but yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's been going on, in this particular token, that there's just, you'll see the retracement, but you continue to see buy pressure. So I really like what they're doing. Another 2,000 buy, that just came in. And like I said, without going on too much about this one, this continues to be one that we will follow and watch until this one kind of runs out of gas. So we're going to go ahead and close this one out on Being AI. Oops. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and head into discovery mode. So give me a moment, and then I'll be right back so we can go ahead and see what we can discover on Dexscreener today. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go to the gear here. If you're new, I like to go ahead and give some of this information out because I don't need all of it. So price, transactions, volume makers, keep all the time frames, and we're going to get rid of liquidity because we never touch liquidity. We always keep it at a minimum of 1,000, as far as the filters are concerned. So, and then we're going to head straight into the filters, and you can see that my information here has changed. So I got rid of what I didn't need, and I'm keeping what I do want. Now, if you want to go ahead and adjust yours, so that your window looks a little different in terms of what information you want to pay attention to, that's perfectly fine as well. And I've said this before, sometimes I get into these modes where I talk, really quickly. If you find that it's kind of hard to follow, what I'm saying, just go ahead and pause the video, go back, and then just review the material, as many times as you need to, because that's the benefit, of watching a YouTube video. So we're going to look at 2 platforms today. I know that we looked at Base yesterday, but we're not going to do that every day. So Solana and Ethereum are going to be our 2 main ones that we'll tend to focus on here in the series. But like I said, I do plan to incorporate other chains. So like Base, maybe Sway, as well, but we'll see. So our market cap, we're going to go ahead and start with our standard 50,000. We're going to go out to 200,000 and see how many tokens we get. Pair age, we're going to go 4 hours to 25 hours. All right, and a lot of times, I'm just making this stuff up as we go along in terms of what I want to look at in terms of the filters. So that's the beauty of the filters. You go ahead and you set, you put in your information, and then you see what it produces for you. If you don't like it, after you've gone through some tokens, then what do? You come back into the filters and you adjust them further. Now, obviously part of this, series is about, how to use the filters to go ahead and find stuff. We pretty much stick with the same, filters. I talked about it in the initial video, the 24 hour, the 6 hour, the 1 hour and the 5 minute. Talked about that stuff before. But for the most part, we're going to stay in the topmost part of the filter window in terms of what we need to do. So I try to go ahead and make it pretty straightforward and easy for you in terms of being able to put some filters in to go ahead and find some stuff. And as we've gone through the series, we've had multiple examples of where using these exact filters, or filters where we're just using the topmost portion of the customized filter window, where you don't have to put in a lot of filters to go ahead and find stuff, because we are consistently finding things, that either do a 2x, anywhere from a 2x, to a 10x, just utilizing, the uppermost, window, in terms of how I've shown you guys to go ahead and do it time and time again here in the series. So here we go, and we're going to go ahead and sort, by the 24 hour, just because I want to see the tokens that have the most gain all the way down to a minimum of 10. So you can see we don't get anything in the negatives, here in the 24 hour column, because if you go back to the filters, you are setting that minimum value for the 24 hour chains at 10%. If you don't have that 10% in there, then you click apply. Then here's what you're going to find. You're going to find that you're going to get stuff that's going to be, anywhere from a low negative, to a high negative. And here's the thing: we don't care about anything that's minus 90% plus in the 24 hour column. If it's that bad in the 24 hour column, here's the reality: it's not going to move. It's not going to move. It's not going to go ahead and just spike up out of nowhere. For the most part, there are rare instances where it does stuff like that, but typically those are tokens where there's some kind of narrative, where it's dumped for some reason, and then you got somebody that's really kind of watching, and then they just plan to go ahead and pump it up out of nowhere. But for the most part, that's the reason why. I'll tend to just go ahead and stick to that, 10% minimum value in the 24 hour window. Now you do have some of these, where maybe it's down like 20%, and that may make sense to go and take a look at some of those, but that's not what we focus on here in the series. So just wanted to go ahead and put that out there, because some of you guys, may question, well, why do you use the 10%, in the 24 hour change? minimum value calling, and that's the reason why. We just don't need to focus on the negatives, so because again, we're looking for ones that have more potential, and ones that have more potential, in my personal opinion, are going to be the ones that can stay in the green in that 24-hour window. But as always, there are going to be some exceptions, and I can hear people now saying, hey, there have been plenty of tokens, that have been minus in the 24-hour window, and they've come back, up, and and it's been a good token. I get all that. I'm just saying, for the purposes, of the series, you don't always find that, so, but it's better for us to go and focus on the ones that stay in the green in the 24-hour window. So, all right, now that my rant about that is over with, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start opening up some tokens. We always start at the top, let's go ahead and start at the bottom, this time. So, all right, and again, for me, I just go ahead and I just start opening them up. Now, I open up this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and close it because anytime I tend to see the multiples of the same token, I typically just stay away from those. Jeep Be Gone, Newsphere. Actually, I think I'm not going to mess with these because a lot of those, Jeep tokens, they really don't do anything. Newsphere, I don't know what that is. Decentralized Finance, AI, sure. Chico to the Moonbird. All right, here. And then if you're new, talked about this, a couple of times before in video. If you see these thunderbolts here, it just means the token's boosted. It's nice to see those just because, it means that the team or the community, if in the case of a CTO, has decided to go ahead and pay, for additional exposure. So, and these boosted tokens do get additional exposure, but also with the caveat that boosting a token does not guarantee that it's going to move. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But do I take it as a positive signal when I see it? Sure. But does it mean, is it like, is it one of those things where I look at them like, oh my gosh, it's boosted, that means it's absolutely going to move? That's the thing you got to understand. Just because it's boosted does not mean it's going to move. We've seen throughout the series tokens that have been boosted and they actually moved, and we've seen ones where it was boosted. And I mean, we're talking about a big boost actually, 500s, I think the last one we saw, where it still didn't do anything at all. So just keep that in mind. We'll open this one up, Omega Point, sure. All right, and when we open these up, here's the reality. We're going to go ahead and do some kind of evaluation, first, and then I don't think I'm going to do that one. So what was this one? Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone. Okay, so, and this is one I saw earlier. I am interested in taking a look at this one. I had concerns about this one, but since I've been watching it, interestingly enough, it's still moving. So, all right, so here we go. And okay, we're at the 5-minute. First things first, obviously, anybody that's been watching this, we want to go ahead and take a look at the chart, and we want to make sure that there is a telegram. So when you're doing your scanning, and hopefully for anybody that's been following along with this, maybe at first it was kind of weird for you, but you should be getting better at just, as soon as you open up one of these tokens, first thing you do, chart, telegram. That's when we've got so many different tokens to look through when it comes to Dexscreener, you cannot be spending a ton of time trying to go ahead and do evaluation, at least not right away. You can go ahead and spend more time on the back end, but on the front end, your scans need to be pretty quick, because we may open up 20 windows and you don't want to be spending an hour looking at 20 windows. You want to go ahead and do quick scans, so here we go. This is the chart. Does it look okay? Looks okay. And we got a telegram. All right, so move on. Here, this is kind of bottomed out. The other one, what I do want to mention, yesterday we looked at, I think it was Fart Stop. And so that one actually, interestingly enough, I think when I looked at it initially, I said it looked kind of bottomed out and that I closed out the window. I checked back in on that token. It actually did move. So I wanted to bring that up because, again, sometimes when you make your scans, sometimes you think that it's bottomed out and it really isn't, so, but that's obviously the benefit of setting the alerts. We didn't set an alert for that one yesterday, but we could have. So, but for me doing the video, at the end of the day, look, I try to stay within a half hour to an hour, for every video. And so I got to go and move through things quickly, and I've got to make quick assessments, but you don't, necessarily have to do it the way that I'm doing it, as the content, provider here. So you can spend a little bit more time, but for me, I got to go ahead and get through stuff quickly, just because of the time window that I try to stay within, because I know not everybody, stays attentive, when it comes to YouTube videos. So, but either way, just wanted to highlight that for you, that for that particular one, probably shouldn't have closed that out. Could have set an alert for it, but in hindsight, I did check it out on the back end after the video was done, and it did actually move. So if that's one you want to still go ahead and check out, just go back to yesterday's video. I think it was Fart Stop, And you just go ahead and go to your search box here, and then match up some of the information from what you saw in the video, and you'll be able to go ahead and engage with that token should you decide to go ahead and do so. I don't know where it's at today, but I know that yesterday after I checked, after the video was done, it did move. So we're going to go ahead and close this one out because I really don't like what I'm seeing here on the chart. Okay, and then this one too, not really. Yeah, this one's kind of bottomed out for me as well. And this one, I mean, maybe we can see looking at this chart, it looks like it's trying to go ahead and come on back up. The informational area over here doesn't look too bad, small minus on the 5 minute, but everything else is in the green. So I'll tell you what, we'll take a look at it, since we got everything else that we need over here. And let's see here, the minuses over here are not really crazy about, so we're going to go ahead and close this out. Omega point, if I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this one, I can tell you right away if I did anything here, it would definitely be an under alert, on this one, because you can see where the buy candle is, and you guys know, if you've been with me for any amount of time, on this series, that I can't stand buying the top of charts. And if I have to, then it's going to be just a few bucks that I throw in and then wait for the retracement. So, but we'll take a look at that one too. Yammy, not really crazy about what I'm seeing here on this chart. Since it looks like it's way more sell pressure than buy pressure, so we're going to close this one out as well. This one definitely no, I can tell right away, not interested, and there's a negative 80% on that 6 hour. So you can see my scans are pretty quick, and as you do this more and more often, you'll get faster at doing the scans. When you see something, like I said, early on in this series, I just see charts, and when I see charts, they're charts that I know I'm more interested in looking at, and charts that it's like, I know, and then there's charts where it's like 50-50. But I'm also doing scans over here, and if I see big numbers, I'm definitely going to go ahead and leave it alone. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and leave that one alone. And so this one, what I really liked about this is, one, it's United States Donald Trump, and I love the fact that that's how it plays into the ticker, USDT. So even though we see a fair amount of sell pressure on this one, I personally think that it could be one to watch. I did go ahead and set an alert on this one. I'll show you that alert me when the market cap goes under 100,000. I think that, obviously, I've said anything that's Trump oriented, anything that's Elon oriented, government related, anything related to the inauguration, those are going to be tokens that we want to watch. Now, we're still several days away from it, right? 13 days. That's a lot of time. So for tokens like this, I think it makes sense to go and put it on my radar. Not necessarily to take an entry, but to at least put it on my radar, my personal opinion, because I think that as we get closer to the inauguration, or if there's any news, coming out from, the incoming president that may be, positive, I think that it can affect tokens like this. And like I said, I think this one looks pretty interesting to me just because, you got his name in it, and it's USDT, which everybody's familiar with USDT if you've been in crypto for any amount of time. So even if this one goes under 100K, do I feel somewhat optimistic that it could go ahead and still head back up? Yep, I kind of do. But we'd have to go ahead and see what I need to see more movement, I need to see more in regards to this chart. I also want to continue to watch the community. The other thing I didn't like in regards to the Telegram is that the Telegram's closed. So I've said before that sometimes if a Telegram's closed, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a token you want to just go ahead and write off, because I've seen tokens where the Telegram is closed and there continue to be consistent buy pressure. So, and that's just because people tend to go ahead and follow the volume, right? So when people sell, people go ahead and, follow sells. When people are buying, people continue to go ahead and follow buys because they think that, there's a chance that it could continue to go up and there's a chance for gains. So, but I think this has all the right ingredients. I just love to see that Telegram be reopened. So, but yeah, and we'll take a look at the Telegram, but I want to go ahead and open up some more tokens before we move into checking out channels. All right, so let's see here. Operator, this one. Okay, we'll open up this one. Son of Pepe. I looked at this one earlier. I wasn't crazy about it. Let's see where the chart's at. Okay, and Google's, we'll open this one, and DTF, we'll open this one. So, all right, guys, and again, for anybody that sees any kind of names, here's we're going through that are not necessarily the kind of names you want to see. just understand, I mean, this is crypto. I try to go ahead and not, open up tokens that have names that would be concerning for anybody, especially, younger viewers that may be going in and watching this content. But I mean, that's just kind of the ebbs and flows of crypto. You're going to see some of that stuff. So, but you can also be sure that I'm going to go ahead and try to stay away from that stuff as much as possible as I'm covering content here on the channel. All right. So with that being said, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we got 8 tokens. Let's go ahead and take a look, quick look again, just to make sure we got telegrams in all of these. Okay, telegram, good. All right, telegram here. And this one's a honeypot, so we're going to go ahead and close this one out. And then DTF, okay, so, all right, so we got 7. All right, so I think this one, we'll still open it up. So, all right. Let's go in and let's start checking out some channels. Okay, so we're going to click on this so we don't have to see that every time. All right, and we're going to click to verify here. So good. All right. Okay, so what do we got going on? Last buy was at 125. That was 4 minutes ago. So, okay, this looks like a CTO. All right, so if we keep going up. All right, so we got some rating going on, a little activity going on, small raids, so they're only looking for 3 likes. 3 replies, 3 retweets, and 3 bookmarks. So if you're new, if you're wondering, what rating is, I know, when I was newer and I didn't understand what rating is, nobody was really explaining it, but this is all it is. They put a Twitter or an X post, out there. They're just asking you to engage with it, so that's all the rating process is. Okay, that's all a rate is. Okay, but you want to see raids because raids do indicate, community engagement. They don't necessarily guarantee that the token is going to go up, but it's good to see that the community is interested in kind of working for their bags, working to help out, in terms of the overall exposure, of the token. When you don't have much engagement, I don't necessarily see that as a positive because again, if tokens, and the charts, continue to, stay stale and you don't really have much help coming from the community, then you can almost guarantee in most cases that those tokens are just going to head downwards. Okay, so, and also want to look through pinned messages just to go ahead and see, do we see any evidence, of any kind of trending? All right, so I don't really see any evidence of trending, in the channel here. So we're going to close that out, and we don't see any evidence of a boost, either. So this is going to be one that I'll set an alert on it, but I'm pretty sure this is probably going to go down. Not guaranteeing it, but I'm not seeing anything that's going to tell me that's going to go up either. So we're sitting at 52K. All right, so that's going to be our posted market cap. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and set this at 35K. I think if it goes under this, then it's probably toast. So, all right. So no need for me to set an under. I'm just going to go ahead and set the over because, like I said, I think this one's coming down. And let's see here. For this one, now we're getting some more sell pressure here. So just out of curiosity, let's go ahead and check out what's going on here in the Telegram. All right, so here we go. Get our portal link. Okay, so just over 2,300 members, here in their chart or in their channel. They've got a VC going, 9% participants, not a lot of people, in that VC, but again, they got a VC going. And so here's a buy. Buy just came in at 131. Okay, so that's positive. That's within my 10-minute buy window. All right, and let's see here. Let's just go ahead and go up. So let's see, do they have any kind of rating going on? Do they have any trending going on? So no rating, no trending. I don't see any of that. They got a meme contest, but that's really not going to go ahead and be much to engage the community. They're burning some supply, but 3%, burns used to go ahead and be something that was positive and people really like that kind of thing, but burns don't really, lead to a lot of increased buy pressure in my personal opinion. So market's crashing. Had somebody and a couple of other channels were talking about, the market's not really doing too hot. And even with an app that I look at, I could see just a lot of stuff that was in the minuses. But according to the Fear and Greed Index, we're still sitting at above 75, so there's still a positive, sentiment, for crypto overall. So, okay, but again, not a whole lot going on, but there is still activity, here in the channel. But here's the other caveat that you need to understand in regards to rating. Just because you can see some activity in regards to rating, which we didn't see this before because I didn't see evidence of any raids, but now that we do see we got some raids, this is a small one too. They're only looking for 10 likes. But raids don't always bring in a lot of buy pressure. Sometimes they can, but I think it really comes down to the overall sentiment and bullishness that people have in regards to a particular token. So yeah. But like I said, there's still some activity, which is good to see. So we'll close this out, and I think we will set a couple of alerts on this one. Since we're sitting at 164, no, it says 174K, in regards to the market cap. For anybody that's new, this is always delayed. So if you can match it up, with what's going on in the tab, I tend to follow the tab more as long as it matches up, but sometimes you'll go ahead and you'll see some weird numbers here where you just can't make any sense of what this is in comparison to this. So then you have no choice but to follow this, but in this particular case, we'll follow the tab. It's saying 173. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go straight to market cap, and on the under, we're going to set 173 here for the posted market cap. And for the under, we'll go ahead, we'll set it at, 145, okay? So there we go. And then for the over, all right, let's go ahead and let's set this. For the over, let's go ahead and let's set this at, 185, okay? And again, this is just an indicator, so, all right, so not a large deviation, from where we at, but I want to see, if it's going to start to head upwards, it's at least, in terms of what the chart's looking like. Now, on the 24-hour, we're seeing a positive. I'm guessing, as we get more buys, we'll start to go ahead and see this 5 minutes, move into the green, which is positive, right? But I want to see us get out of this danger zone. So I could set the over a little bit higher, but I'm not going to. Like I said, it's just an indicator, so if it triggers, then I can come back and I can look and make another assessment, on it, and then decide to go ahead and set another over if I'm not ready to go ahead and make any kind of decision as far as an entry on the chart. So we're going to go ahead and close this one out. And then looking at here, so when we first looked at this one, it was still sitting up here, and I said, if everything checks out in the channel, the only thing I'm going to go ahead and do is set an under alert on this one, right? Or if I wanted to go ahead and do anything, I could go ahead and top blast, but if I did a top blast buy, it would only be with a very, very small denomination. We're talking about maybe like $2 or $3. All right, but this one did retrace, and that's not unusual. Anytime you see these large buy, green candles, you're always going to see some level of retracement. The question is how much, right? So, but we're going to check out the channel and see what we got going on in here. All right, so this looks like a CTO. Yes, it is. All right, so here we go. We got just over 50 members, so very small group, sitting, here right now. But we are getting some activity, from the raid. All right, and that's just pretty good, for only 50 members actually. There's another buy that came in, so that's what we want to see. That's within my 10-minute buy window. All right, and anything going on here? So they got a small boost going on. Let's see if that's still going on for this one. Okay, so yeah, we can see the small boost here at 10, which is the smallest boost you can have. So a boost of 10 really isn't going to do anything for your token. I mean, you need to have larger boosts, but we've also seen, even with larger boosts, it doesn't always have a large impact, on a token. Now, but we can see here a little bit, of that wick here, which means there are buys coming in, and we can see that we're coming back into the green, as far as this informational error is concerned. So I think for me, I definitely will go ahead and set an alert, on this one. We're going to go ahead and go to market cap, and we're sitting at 95K. So on the under, let's see here, 95K. Okay, so that's set there, and we're going to go ahead and move this to 70K on the under. Okay. And then on the over, okay, over. All right, so on the over, let's go and let's set this to 125. Now we'll do 120. 120K on the over. Okay, so let's see if it starts to really head up from here. All right, so we're gonna close that out. All right, and then here for USDT, okay, we're in the minuses, here, and this concerns me because we're almost at minus 60. But like I said, for this one, what I'm thinking is that because we're 13 days away from the inauguration, it probably is going to retrace, pretty heavily. And that I don't mind, just because I think there's a narrative here. Okay, so and if it does, that could be a good entry point, if I were to think that this has the potential to go ahead and go back up. Now, I am, regardless of what I'm seeing on the chart, narrative sometimes can go ahead and truly trump, whatever it is you're thinking, in terms of what you're seeing on the chart. I mentioned before several videos ago, that I was down like 90% on a Melania, Trump token. And then all of a sudden, days later, before you know it, I'm like up, I'm way up, So again, sometimes when you have narratives, sometimes the narrative is what you want to pay more attention to as opposed to what you're seeing on the chart. So, but that's not always the case. Everything's about reading and making an evaluation, in regards to whatever token you're looking at. So it's not a cookie cutter thing where everything, always, the same mindset always applies, to every token. So like I told you before, the one thing I didn't like about this was that it's not an open channel. You can't talk in the channel. You can't do anything here in the channel. But I've seen this, I think I saw this originally in in the 140K area, and then it went to 220-ish, and now it's come back down. So, and I think that's what you're probably going to see on this one, probably till we get a bit closer to the inauguration. I think you're going to see, peaks and valleys on this one. I think this one could go under 100K, but I'm going to tell you, I really don't know. But either way, that's the alert that I set it for on this one. But I right now, this is resonating with me. Okay, so I like the ticker and I like what they got going on in terms of the name. Okay, so but I could be wrong. I could be way wrong on this. So we will see. Everything's just about what we see and what we think, and you use your experience and you try to make the best educated information decision that you can make. So that's where I'm at. Like I said, the only thing I really just do not feel good about is the fact that this is a closed channel. So yeah, but I want to do at least take you here and let you see what's going on. I mean, they're getting consistent buys in regards to this, and it's closed. So this tells you that hey, a Telegram channel doesn't necessarily need to be open for there to be buy pressure and activity. But you get no engagement from the community. This is simply just buys coming in, and like I said before, people tend to go ahead and follow volume and they follow buys, but they do the same thing with sells as well. So you can see they got some stuff going on here. Fresh launch, excellent ticker is what they meant to say in branding. United States Donald Trump, good community that supports the team. I don't know about the community. You can't see anything in regards to the community right now. This one, I mean, it entered by DeFi trending, so obviously they paid for that. So trending hot 30. I mean, so there were just a lot of positive things that was going on here, for this one. And like I said, you're still getting activity in terms of the buys. So that's why for me, I'm okay if this one continues to retrace, because I'm more interested in watching this as we get closer, to the inauguration. So again, the alert here is set, for going under 100K, and if it triggers under 100K, I'll make another decision, from there. Okay, so here we got OpenAI. This is called Operator as far as the ticker. So we're minus 45, on the 6 hour, but we'll still go ahead and check out the channel and see what they got going on. Okay, so we don't get a portal, so you don't need to go ahead and worry about that. You can already see there's over 6,400 members, here. In this one, we're sitting at 146K. 140, that's the time of my clock, as well. And they say that they got a VC supposedly going on at 657 today. 50-50, that actually happens, but that's just my own thoughts there. Okay, and so I don't see any evidence, of rating yet. Okay, no evidence of rating yet, and I don't see any kind of trending going on. So they say this is next or new Dex Tools hot token, so that's positive, to go ahead and see that. But yeah, I don't really see anything in terms of community engagement, for this particular token. So, and then this is the other thing, you're seeing Pepe AI agent, so why is that there? Team didn't go ahead and take care of that, so yeah, that does kind of concern me a bit, that you got some spam in there and that's not being addressed. So yeah, and that does indicate that you may not have an active team, so we get a huge retracement. It looks like, a rug, and then we get some more buy pressure here, and then another big, large sell activity. And so, yeah, I see more selling activity than I see buying activity on this one. So this one, we're going to go ahead and close this one out and not worry about it. Son of Pepe here, we got a couple of, this is a pretty decent, run and rise, on this chart. Could be, it could be something that I could see again, but the other thing that concerns me is 1 hour in the minus 30s. That's not a big concern, but this one starts to become more of a concern for me on the almost 60% in the minus, on the 6 hour. However, we'll still go ahead and take a look at the channel, see what they got going on. Okay, so we do get a portal here, so we can tap to verify. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that just to get in, and let's see what we got going on. Okay, so joining the group here, and so they got a VC tomorrow, around 7 a.m. And we can see the last buy was at 142. That's on my clock. So they're still getting, some buys. We can see that going on. The other thing I want you to pay attention to when you see buying activity is that sometimes when you see a lot of buy activity, it could, you might see like plus, in this area where it's say, plus, 67%, which means it's already an active holder. They're just increasing their position. Okay. Now, if I see a bunch of that going on, in this, in a token, then I already know that's, it's somebody that's holding, that's trying to go ahead and increase, how much supply they hold. I actually want to see a lot of new holders. Okay. Because new holders means you're bringing in new buyers, and that's good for the overall, health and distribution, really in terms of supply, and, the fact that, hey, there is positive sentiment, in regards to that token, because you got new people that are constantly coming in. Now, if you're seeing a bunch of buys that are coming in, and all you're seeing is, plus, 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 plus in that new holder position, I'm trying to see if we can see any pluses, here. Okay, so yeah, position. This is what I was looking for. Position plus 24%. That just means that you already have an existing buyer that's just increasing their position, increasing how many tokens that they hold. All right. Like I said, if you see a bunch of that going on, then you already know this is not one where they're getting a lot more exposure. It's just new people. It's just, current people that already know about the token, and they're just taking advantage of getting, scooping up more and more tokens. What you want to see is you want to see new holders. You want to see a lot of buys coming in, but you also want to see that they're new holders. You want to see new holder. All right. So yeah, and there's clearly a lot of activity here in terms of, new holders coming in. So we'll go back out. Hold on. The other thing that I wanted to go ahead and check, I didn't see anything in regards to raids. Okay. So I don't see anything in regards to raids. I don't see anything in regards to trending. Okay, there we go. We got trending here. Now we can go ahead and we can click here on Sol Trending to go ahead and see if they're still active. That's the other thing. Just because you see it in the channel doesn't mean that their trending is still active. Anytime you get trending, especially if you're new, anytime you get trending's only available for a certain time frame. So you can see this, but again, click on it just to go ahead and check. And we're looking for Son of Pepe, and it'll take you right to their board, okay, where everybody is trending. And we're looking for, do we see Son of Pepe anywhere in here? Now I'm looking, and I don't see it. I see Pepe AI, but that's not the same token. We see Being AI. Obviously, we've talked about that earlier here, in this video. But yeah, I don't see Son of Pepe. So that means that it's not currently trending. So that could also translate into why we're not really, why we were seeing that downtrend. Because I mentioned on a video yesterday, we're not on a video yesterday, but I think in some video called, I think it might have even been Being AI. That one of my concerns was for that token at the time it was called was they had a couple of different things going on, trending and boosts. And I said, when the boost is over, you may see retracement. So keep that in mind. That if they had trending and they no longer have trending, when they no longer have trending, that visibility and trending and the trending leaderboard is now gone, right? So that's a bunch of buyers, potential buyers that they lose. Okay, so and they're not, some tokens are going to continue to pay for trending, but they got to have a budget for that. Being AI, they've continued to pay for trending. Okay, which is also why I think you'll continue to see buy pressure, on their chart. Here for this one, they've got a small boost going on. It's a 50, again, not a big boost, but a boost is still a boost. So it's some additional exposure. Looks like they're also, they've also done an advertisement. So if you hover over ads, recently advertised on Dexscreener. So they paid for ads and they also paid for a boost, right? So they're trying to go ahead and do some things, for the overall exposure of this token. Even though we're in the minus 50s, here on the 6 hour, I still think it's worthwhile to go ahead and set an alert on this. So we will go ahead and do that. So right now we're sitting at 79K. So we can see that 79 right there. So we're going to go ahead and put the alert at 79. All right. And this is going to be for the over. So we're going to set the over at 90K. All right. 99000. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and set an under. Okay. So in the under, we're going to go ahead and set at 60K. 1, 2, 3. All right. So there we go. So we set both of those. So we're good there. And then for DTF, this one we can see right away. There's been no activity. And again, keep in mind, quick scans, guys. And the more you do it, the easier to get. But I can see right away, I don't even need to go into the channel because no activity on the 5 minute, no activity on the 1 hour, and very little activity on the 6 hour. So that just means it's a stale chart. Nothing's going on. And this is absolutely going to go ahead and go down because there's nothing. It's stale, So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and close this one out. And, with that being said, that takes us through a number of tokens that we've looked at today. So, I think what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and stop the video at this point. And I want to say, as always, I appreciate you guys, tuning in for another episode, of the Dexscreener series. We've gone ahead and set some alerts, from some stuff. We'll go ahead and see how it goes tomorrow in the review section before we go and get discovery. But as always, if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, make sure that you go ahead and you check out check out some other videos, on this channel. Consider subscribing. We got a lot of people that do watch, videos, associated with Investment Honey, with this YouTube channel, but they're not yet subscribed. So please consider subscribing. And anything that I go ahead and broadcast to the community, you're not going to know about that unless you are a subscriber. So only takes a second to go ahead and subscribe, just to go ahead and keep up, with what's going on here on the channel. And make sure that you certainly subscribe, to Crimson's Calls, the Telegram channel, even the X, the Twitter community as well, because again, all those things do put you in front of additional things that I may go ahead and push out, that may not be a part of the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and with that said, you guys enjoy the day.